You're born somewhere between life is already terrible and it's about to get worse. The year? 1218. The Mongol Empire is expanding like wildfire and your tiny village is right in its path. Your family? Small, proud, and loyal to a local Khan who thinks he can resist Genghis's war machine. You don't know what a war machine is yet, but you'll figure it out soon enough. Spoiler, it's not pretty. Your village holds out longer than most, protected by rocky terrain and a local Khan who refuses to bend the knee. For 3 years, you watch the empire close in like a tightening noose. When you're 7, they finally come for your village. The attack is swift and merciless. Your father dies with a Mongol arrow in his chest. Your mother shoves you behind a grain barrel, whispers for you to stay hidden, then runs out to drag your father's body to safety. She doesn't make it back. When the killing stops, you're one of maybe a dozen children left alive. That's when the Mongol administrators arrive. They don't wear armor like the warriors, just the neat deal robes of imperial officers. They walk among the survivors, examining every child like livestock at market. Most get a dismissive shake of the head. A few, including you, get a nod. They blindfold you, march you across endless plains for days. And when the blindfold comes off, you're standing in front of Karakorum, the beating heart of the empire. It looms over you, vast and unforgiving. It's impressive, sure, but it's also cold, foreign, and smells like sweat and mold. Welcome to your new home. Training starts immediately. There's no orientation. No, here's where the bathrooms are. Instead, you're thrown into drills that make you question whether they're training you or trying to kill you. You cry the first night. By the second night, you're too exhausted to cry. By the third, you've learned that crying earns you extra laps around the training ground. You're not a child anymore. You're a project, and they're forging you into something useful for the empire. You learn to fight, first with wooden practice swords that leave your arms purple and swollen, then with real blades that draw blood if you're too slow. Every mistake leaves a scar, a reminder that hesitation can kill you. You learn to move without sound, how to hide in shadows during infiltration exercises, how to track footprints through the training grounds. It's all practice, all control. Every lesson builds towards something real and deadly. And through it all, they're pounding one message into your skull. Loyalty. To the Khan. To the eternal blue sky. But somehow, despite everything, you make a friend. Same age, same story. Another broken kid from a burned-down home. You promise to protect each other, like brothers. It's the only thing keeping you human. The days blur together. Sparring, fasting, reciting doctrine until your throat is sore. You're not allowed to ask questions, but you have plenty. Like, why are they making you crawl through mud under a net of barbed wire? Or, why does the food taste like it was cooked by someone who hates you? But you keep your mouth shut, because asking questions gets you a day without any food at all. The years pass. By 12, you're lethal. You can fabricate a cover identity on the spot, disappear like smoke, kill without blinking. The truth has been staring you in the face for years. They're not training you to fight in battles. They're training you to prevent them from ever happening. And then, you're 13. Your instructor notices how close you and your friends have gotten. Big mistake. He decides to test your loyalty to the Khan's vision. The test? A fight. To the death. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because attachment is weakness. It's not punishment. It's a lesson. And the lesson is that nothing comes before your duty to the Empire. You hesitate. He doesn't. Your friend's eyes are wide with terror, shaking as he lunges at you. He's not faster or more skilled, just desperate. And desperation is dangerous. Every strike feels heavier because of what it means. He lands a blow, slices your arm. The pain jolts you, but it's the panic that hits harder. You're losing. Survival instinct takes over. The fight isn't quick, but it's over faster than you want it to be. You feint left, strike right. Your blade finds its mark, through his heart. He goes down. You stand over your friend, breathing hard, blood dripping from your arm and your weapon. He looks up at you, eyes wide with shock. And for a moment, you see the boy you promised to protect. Then, he's gone. There's no applause, no pat on the back, just silence. The instructor doesn't even look at you when it's over. He just walks away. You stand there, covered in blood, his blood, and you realize the transformation is complete. They made you kill the one who mattered most to you. You're not a person anymore. You're exactly what they wanted, a committed weapon. A few days later, your instructor approaches you with something like approval in his eyes. You've earned it, he says simply. You're ready. Your first mission arrives. You're given forged travel papers, a merchant's disguise, a dagger that's seen better days. No encouragement, no guidance beyond the target's description. Just orders and a shove toward enemy territory. The target is a minor military official. Important enough to matter, but not significant enough to have any real protection. He's predictable. Same tea house every morning. Same inspection route. Same wine shop every evening, where he drinks until he can barely walk. You watch him for days, learn his patterns. You don't think about who he is or what he's defending. He's a name on a list, and your job is to cross it off in blood. The kill is quick and clean. You catch him in an alley behind the tavern, too drunk to notice you until it's too late. One swift motion, and the dagger is in his throat. He gurgles, eyes wide with shock, and collapses. You don't wait to watch him die. You just disappear into the night. The assignments multiply. Next target? A merchant with loose lips and dangerous connections. You wait until he's alone with his wine. 3 drops of oleander extract later, he clutches his chest, thinking his heart finally gave out. Then a military general planning something foolish. You enter his tent as a messenger during the chaos of camp. A thin blade slips between his ribs as he reaches for the scroll. Gone before his aide returns. After that, a corrupt official at the bathhouse. You put some powdered nightshade in the steam oils, and he's gone before the water turns cold. Mission after mission. Each requires a different face, a different method. Poison and blade, accident and misdirection. You become whoever the moment demands. Merchant, pilgrim, servant, scholar, slipping into roles like changing masks. Whispers of a shadow that strikes without warning, spread along the trade routes. They don't know who you are, or if you're even human. They just know that when the shadow strikes, people die. That's exactly the point. The Empire's reach becomes legend. For 2 decades, you are the answer to unsolvable problems. But by 40, your knees ache. You don't move quite as fast. Your last target in Anyang almost escaped. Almost. 10 years ago, he wouldn't have made it to the door. The council receives reports on everything. You're still deadly, but no longer untouchable. The order comes down from the council. Instructor position. Effective immediately. You're too valuable to lose in the field. You hate it. Being there brings back old memories. But the Empire's will is absolute. The assignment comes before your feelings. Always. The recruits are so young, torn from burning villages, clutching at memories of home. You teach them footwork, blade work, the 100 ways to end a life. You teach them to kill. They find comfort in each other. Small friendships bloom in the darkness. You watch them bond, knowing what's coming. You don't warn them. What would be the point? Years pass, and then, at 51, you get the order. Your favorite student hesitated on a kill. He's compromised. Your job? Clean it up. You track him down easily. He's alone, sitting by a fire on the steps, staring into the flames, like they might hold the answers he's looking for. When he looks up, your breath catches. For a moment, it's not him you see. It's your old friend, the one you killed all those years ago. The same eyes. He recognizes you immediately. He doesn't run. He just looks at you, voice quiet. Look at us. Look what we've become. The words hit harder than any blade ever could. You feel like you're standing in that training ground all over again, weapon in hand, about to make the same terrible choice. You lower your weapon. Run, you tell him. Run far and never stop. He stares at you, confused, then scrambles to his feet and disappears into the night. You sit by the fire, knowing they'll just send someone else to finish what you couldn't. But it won't be you. You're done being the Empire's blade. You go back and lie. Tell them the job is finished. They believe you. Why wouldn't they? You've always been the perfect tool. Until now. 3 nights later, you disappear. You find a nameless village, nestled in forgotten hills. You mend stone walls with your hands, herd goats across mountain paths. The work is simple, honest. Your hands grow calloused in new ways. But you're not naive. Deep down, you know they might come. So you prepare. An assortment of blades hidden throughout the cottage. And among the herbs and cooking supplies, other tools of your former trade. Years pass. You grow older, slower, your hair showing silver. You almost believe you're free, that you've escaped the Empire's reach. Almost. Then comes the knock on your door. 3 measured taps on a cold evening. You open the door, and there he is, a former student, grown tall, shoulders broad, his face set with grim resolve. His blade catches the light. "You're a difficult man to find," he says, stepping inside uninvited. You almost laugh. After all this time, after everything you've been through, it comes down to this. A knock on the door like he's a neighbor stopping by for tea. He steps closer. "You know how this ends," he says. You glance briefly toward the kitchen, to the innocent clay jar sitting among the herbs. "We'll see," you reply. The fight begins exactly as you feared. You're slower than you used to be. He's younger and faster, and he was trained by you. Every move you make, he anticipates. "Please, master, don't make this harder than it has to be," he says. You go for a leg sweep. He sidesteps it cleanly. You try a palm strike feint. He doesn't fall for it. You reach for your belt knife. He kicks it away. It goes clattering across the stone floor. You built this weapon. You can't outfight him. The kitchen is your final gambit. You scramble toward it, grabbing the small clay jar from among the herbs, ready to throw it at him. He follows, almost leisurely. When he sees what's in your hand, he smiles. Really? This is what the Great Shadow has been reduced to. He lunges forward, confident. You can't dodge. This is your only chance. You smash the jar over his head as his blade drives through your chest. Crushed oleander and powdered arsenic explodes in a small gray cloud. His eyes go wide with sudden realization. Immediately, you both start gasping, coughing blood. He collapses first, wheezing and clawing at his throat. You watch him die on your kitchen floor, your own strength fading with each labored breath. The poison burns in your lungs. Your vision blurs at the edges. At least you brought him down with you. As darkness closes in, you let out one final breath. The Empire never lets you go. Once you're theirs, you either kill for it or die for it. You're born in medieval England, a time of mud roads, cavities, and short lives. Your parents, peasants. The path ahead, already chosen for you, and it's not a good one. You're gonna spend your days working the Lord's fields, shoveling manure, milking goats, and dying by the ripe old age of 40. Fun, right? But one morning when you're about 15, something in you snaps. You're out in the fields at twilight, your back aching again, the same stench of livestock. And it hits you. This can't be your life. You don't know where you'll go, you just know it has to be anywhere but here. The future carved in dirt? Not for you. So before the sun even comes up, you make a break for it. No plan, just a direction. And the hope that anything has to be better than this. You reach the nearest city, a smoky sprawl of cobblestone and noise. Not much better, but hey, it's new. You find work where you can, sweeping alleys, carrying sacks, scrubbing chamber pots. It keeps you alive, but that's about it. Then one day, you see him. A man riding into the square, dragging an outlaw behind his horse. No uniform, no crest, just rope at his saddle and knives on his belt. A bounty hunter. He drops the body on the ground, spits, and holds out his hand. A sack of silver lands in it. That's when it clicks for you. I can do that, you think. No lord, no leash, just a sharp blade, the thrill of the hunt, and more silver than your family would see in a year. It's clear. That's the life you want. You start watching tavern walls for posters, listening for names. Your first bounty? A joke. A petty thief caught stealing from a tailor. You find him drunk, face down in a haystack. Dragging him back is harder than catching him, but you get paid. 1 silver coin. It's worth more than your entire family would see in a month. And just like that, you're hooked. But the next jobs aren't so easy. No more pickpockets passed out in stables. Now it's your job to track men with nothing more than boot prints, bar whispers, and vague descriptions. You've got no maps, no portraits, just rumors and blood trails. And the fights, they're not heroic. Just a lot of grappling, bruises, and the occasional broken rib. One guy even stabs you in the leg with a fork. But you keep at it. Slowly, painfully, you figure out the job. You can quickly tell which leads are lies, which tracks are fresh, and how to fake confidence when a guy twice your size is about to start swinging. In short, you adapt, or you bleed. Eventually, you get enough silver to buy a horse. Not a good one. She bites, bucks, and occasionally scrapes you off on low branches. But she's yours. You'd trade her for something better, but it looks like you were the only fool willing to take her in. So for now, it's the two of you. At least, you don't have to walk. Now you're 20. The jobs keep coming, and so do the bruises. You're getting faster, sharper. Not a veteran yet, but not green either. One day, you drag a crooked guard through town. He's taken coin to look the other way. Doesn't know your name. Doesn't care. Just spits and calls you a sellsword on a leash. You ignore him, but his words stick. What else are you gonna do? Start over? No chance. You keep moving. The work doesn't wait. Rain? You're still riding. Fever? It'll keep you warm. You're chasing thieves while coughing up blood, arresting murderers while limping from an old arrow wound. The days blur. You catch raiders, deserters, and sometimes you catch a beggar who steals a loaf of bread. But what really sticks with you are the ones you had to kill. The ones who ran, who fought, who left you with no choice. But you can't stop. The pay is good. The work needs to be done. And if you don't do it, someone even worse will. You're 30 now, and you've mastered your craft, with a reputation to show for it. You can track footprints through rain, read lies in a heartbeat, and end a brawl before it even starts. Your reputation grows. Soon, you don't ask for work. It finds you. Then one night, you ride into a village you've never seen before. The innkeeper steps out, wipes his hands, and says your name. Not sir, not you there. Your name. You pause, because no one used to know your name. And that's when it hits you. Your reputation arrived before you did. The good rooms, the hot meals, the respect. They're yours now. Guards don't stop you at the gate anymore. They wave you through. You're not a knight, you don't serve a crown, you don't chase justice, but you've built something. A name, a life. Soon, the jobs stop being small. A baron's steward hires you. High pay, high expectations. And for a while, it's great. But then one bounty, a young stable hand who finally struck back at his lord. You take him in, you take the pay, but something about it doesn't sit right. So you don't take another contract from them.
Nope.
You tell yourself it's because the jobs were beneath you. The years continue to roll by. You're 40 now, a seasoned bounty hunter. You've earned a few gray hairs and more than a few scars. Your name isn't just known, it carries weight. When the stakes are too high to fail, they come to you. You've stopped taking the small jobs. You're the one they call on when failure isn't an option. At least, for now. But the world doesn't stop changing. New bounty hunters are showing up. Young, fast, and hungry. More brutal than you ever were. And one day it hits you. You're not the one they fear anymore. Not really. It's not just that the world is changing. It's you. You're slowing down. Your shoulders ache. Your knees crack when you stand. The blade feels heavier than it used to. But you've carved out a place in this world through grit, blood, and stubbornness. You're not young. You're not fast. But people know your name, and that still counts for something. Younger bounty hunters buy you drinks, ask for tips, call you a legend. You try not to let it go to your head. Still, sometimes in quiet tavern corners you hear it. Still sharp, but not like it used to be. Used to be unstoppable. Now, well, you don't hear the rest. Just enough to know where you stand. You say nothing, but the truth sits with you. You're slower. Cold mornings hit harder. The weight of the bodies you bring in feel heavier than they used to. You're still dangerous, but not untouchable. And some people are starting to notice. You sit by the fire some nights, staring into the flames. You think about the years, the silver, the people you turned in, the ones you dragged, the ones you didn't give a chance. You try not to think about it, but some nights, the silence lingers too long. Then one evening, someone knocks. No words, just a bounty poster, held out in the rain. You take it. Recognize the face immediately. A woman, mid-30s now. 2 years ago, she robbed a noble's carriage. Clean getaway. Big haul. Rumor said the noble raised taxes so high that her whole village starved. Real saint, that one. And her? You saw her 3 days ago at the market, holding a little girl's hand. Same eyes. The bounty's still active. You never realize how high the reward was. Enough to live like a lord. Enough to make you hesitate. You nod once and close the door. You figure it would be easy enough. A woman with a child? She couldn't have gone far. One last job. Enough to leave this life behind for good. By morning, you're on your horse. Joints aching, but determined. This is it. The final hunt. You ask around, drop some coin, get some whispers. Eventually, a lead points you toward a shack at the edge of town. You wait until nightfall. She steps outside with her child nearby, just a glimpse of her through the shadows. Maybe it's the rope in your hand. Maybe it's the look in your eyes. But she sees you, and she knows. Her eyes widen. She runs, clutching the child, sprinting around the side of the house. You follow. Careful steps, heart thudding. Then, your knee locks up. For a second, you nearly lose her. But you grit your teeth, push through. She turns sharply, ducks into an alley, and stops short. A dead end. She spins around, cornered now, holding her child tightly. Both of them stare at you, terrified. And in their eyes, you don't just see fear. You see yourself, what you've become. You freeze. The rope falls out of your hand as you realize you just can't do it. You step aside. She stares at the rope on the ground. Then her eyes flick back to you. And slowly, her face melts from fear to something else. Relief. Understanding. She straightens up, the child still in her arms. After a pause, she starts walking toward the open space. Slowly. Once she's by your side, she just whispers, "Thank you," and walks away. You stand there for a while, staring into the dark, unsure if you just made a huge mistake or did the only right thing you've done in years. There's no silver, no glory, but something in your chest feels a little lighter. Eventually you turn around, climb onto your horse, and ride off. A few days later, you head into town. You walk into a tavern, drop a coin, and take a seat, hoping ale will quiet your thoughts. Then you stop. There on the wall, a rough sketch of your face, a bounty, your name. Reason? Looking the other way. You stare at it. Hard to say who put it up. The list of people who want you dead is a long one. You study the lines, the price, and you think about everything that led here. The irony sinks in. You on a bounty poster. Then you hear it, the sound of a knife being drawn behind you. You turn. A younger bounty hunter, bigger, stronger. And in that moment, you know it's over. It's either now or a noose. So you reach for your blade, knowing how this ends. But hey, at least you didn't end up a peasant. You're born in medieval Europe, specifically to a noble family. Even more specifically, to a noble family that already has a perfectly good firstborn son who will inherit the land, title, and maybe even live past 40. So what about you? Well, you get a sword. Eventually. But first, you get a name like Algernon or Folk, and a destiny that sounds impressive, but is just a long, slow march toward joint pain. By the time you're 5, everyone's already telling you what you'll be. A knight. And sure, that sounds cool, until you realize knight doesn't mean hero. It means full-time stabbing professional with lifelong trauma and seasonal armor rot. At age 7, you're officially shipped off to another noble's castle to become a page, which is medieval code for small, unpaid, but enthusiastic servant. You thought nobility meant lounging in silk? Nah. It means polishing someone else's sword while being yelled at in French. You sleep in a cold stone hallway. You eat bread so hard it doubles as a weapon. Your job is to fetch things, hold things, and not die of dysentery. So basically, you are a 3-foot-tall butler with aspirations. But hey, you're on the right path to knighthood. A glorious life of honor, duty, and bleeding from 5 places all at once. So enjoy the page years. They're the part no one writes songs about. For good reason. You're 14 now, which means your bones hurt and your childhood is officially over. You've been promoted to squire, a word that means still a servant, but now with bruises. It's like a medieval promotion to middle management. Same suffering, but more responsibilities. And now you're technically old enough to die in battle. Congratulations! You've graduated from pouring wine to getting stabbed. Lucky you. After all, it's progress. Your reward? What reward? Your job. Everything. After all, you're now the personal assistant to a full-grown knight. You're the knight's butler, blacksmith, nurse, pack mule, and emotional support page, all rolled into one hormonal disaster with a dented helmet. You wake up before sunrise to muck out the stables, lay out your knight's armor, and prep for the day's training. Training, by the way, is just a long series of ways to get hurt by people stronger than you. Sword drills in the mud until your arms shake, shield training until your knuckles bleed, archery practice while your stomach growls because lunch was 3 bites of cold barley and a piece of meat so salty it could embalm you. You eat with your hands, drink watered-down ale that may or may not actually contain water, and chew bread that fights back. In the afternoons, you practice mounting and dismounting horses. Yours hates you, obviously. At night, you listen to your knight drone on about chivalry, which apparently includes kicking you awake at 2 a.m. to test your reaction time. You carry gear that weighs more than you do. You sleep in the stables when your knight's had a bad day. Scratch that. You sleep in the stables and smell like everything that sleeps in the stables. You're expected to polish armor till it shines, clean wounds you didn't cause, and be grateful for the opportunity. And if you mess up, public humiliation, or a beating, or both. Once, you mispacked your knight's saddlebag and forgot his ceremonial tabard. He made you wear it for a week straight. You smelled like mold and horse sweat for days, which, in hindsight, was an upgrade from your previous cologne. But you wonder why everyone talks about the glory of knighthood, and no one talks about the 16-year-old squire limping back to the barracks with a black eye and a fractured rib, wondering if honor is supposed to smell like rotting leather and stale piss. But you hold on, because if you just survive long enough, just make it to 21, you might get your own armor, your own squire, your own horse to hate you. Which makes a lot of sense, since it's likely to die in battle. You're 21 now, and somehow still breathing. That alone should qualify you for sainthood, but instead, you get something even more dangerous. Knighthood. It begins with a ceremony. You fast the night before to purify your soul, or just because no one remembered to feed you. You kneel in a cold chapel while the priest mumbles Latin over your aching body. Then the Lord taps your shoulders with a sword, officially turning you from squire to walking corpse with a title. Now, you're a knight, a man of honor, a symbol of chivalry, and, most importantly, a highly mobile, heavily armed meat shield with a price tag. You get a sword, some land, if you're lucky, and your very own war horse, a terrifying beast named something like Bloodfang or Cabbage. You're expected to uphold the code, protect the weak, serve your lord, and don't die too embarrassingly. The first battle comes fast. You barely sleep the night before. You sit by the fire, arms spread out beside you, chewing hard bread and thinking of all the ways you could die. Your stomach churns. Not with fear. You're used to fear. But from the mutton stew. At dawn, you get dressed, with help from 2 squires. It takes 40 minutes. The breastplate doesn't quite fit. The helmet smells like your old knight's breath. You mount up, say a quick prayer, and join the charge. The battlefield is chaos. Arrows fly, horses scream. The mud is halfway to your knees and twice as warm as it should be. Your sword ham cramps halfway through your second swing. You don't remember most of the fight, just flashes, slamming into someone, falling off your horse, nearly choking on your own visor. You stab a man, but not before taking a spear to the thigh. You don't even know his name. You can only hope he was the enemy as you crawl back behind a pile of corpses, where a half-dead priest blesses you with one hand and throws up with the other. After the battle is over, you're celebrated. Your lord calls you brave. Your squire calls you, still bleeding, sir. You spend the night on the ground, your wound packed with moss, eating dried beans and praying you don't get gangrene before breakfast. This is your life now. Respected, yes, but only because you're willing to die for someone else's politics. You're a knight. You're legendary. You're limping. And you're only just getting started. You're in your 30s now, which for a knight is like hitting retirement age. Except instead of a pension, you get gout and a nagging sense of religious dread. Your sword arm? Stiff. Your knees? A Greek tragedy. Your back? Sounds like a bag of rocks every time you get out of bed. But there's no rest. Not when there's another crusade to join, or rebellion to crush, or some duke's nephew who insulted the wrong chicken and now everyone's at war again. The church says you're fighting for salvation. Your lord says you're fighting for glory. But really, you're just fighting to keep your crumbling manor and avoid being taxed into oblivion. Speaking of your manor, it sucks. The roof leaks. The crops died. You're in debt to the local abbot. Your armor's rusting, and your horse limps worse than you do. But you can't quit. After all, knights don't retire. They just slow down, get stabbed more easily, and die sweating in armor that smells like despair and wet dog. At some point, a bard comes through town and asks you for stories of heroism. You lie through your teeth. He writes a song about your gallantry at the Battle of Sludgefield. You remember it as the day you soiled yourself mid-charge and accidentally impaled a friend. But hey, at least the peasants think you're a legend. For now. 15 miserable years pass, and you're now 45, which is roughly 112 in knight years. You wake up every morning stiff, bitter, and missing at least one original body part. Your teeth? Gone. Your hearing? Depends on the wind. Your warhorse? Replaced by a mule named Gerald who walks like he's seen things. Your armor doesn't fit anymore. Because your belly's grown. Your shoulders haven't moved since Lent. And you have to be hoisted onto your saddle with the help of 2 squires and a prayer. You've stopped fighting for glory. Now you fight for cholera-free drinking water. Then one day, during a local skirmish you shouldn't even be a part of, a 19-year-old farm boy with a crossbow shows up and puts a bolt through your side from 30 paces. Clean shot. Doesn't even know your name. You don't die immediately. That'd be too easy. Instead, you get dragged back to your half-rotted manor, where you spend the next week coughing, sweating, and hallucinating about honor while the wound festers. And a monk applies something that smells suspiciously like vinegar and failure. You die in your bed. Not in battle. Not in glory. Just a fever-drenched ex-knight mumbling about horses and God. Your sword? Melted down. Your name? Forgotten. Your manor? Claimed by your cousin. Your mule? Probably better off. They bury you in a churchyard you weren't holy enough for, next to a fence, under a rock. There's no poem, no statue, just a rusted helmet. And a vague story sung by some drunk bard who insists you killed a dragon once. You didn't. But hey, at least you died with honor. Probably. Maybe. After all, no one bothered to check.